Hello, hello. I hope you like my new background. I found this one today. Just waiting to go completely live here. Looks good. And I can hear me. Okay. Perfecto. Okay. Let's see the comments. There we go. Holy frickers. Today has been intense. I participated in a inner child healing circle today. By a beautiful friend I follow on Facebook, and 4 other amazing ladies that came up in vulnerability and held space. And it was intense looking at all these different exercises. Write a letter to your mother, write a letter to your father, all from your inner child's perspective. What didn't work out, what did work out, what you're angry about, and then it's like, what does your inner child need from you? What do you give back to your inner child? And then after we completed that circle today, which was a whole bunch of opening and stuff, I had an interaction with a lady friend of mine where we've been going deeper all the time. We're not actually pursuing relationship. We're pursuing intimacy of connection and depth and kind of like a relationship / friendship experiment, which is extremely powerful. And it's the root of kind of this 3-month relationship container we've been talking about. But engaging with someone deeply, vulnerably, and intimately for the purposes of self-exploration for both, without having the end result need to be a relationship or a marriage, but being at a more than a relationship level, in some ways, kind of like a friendship, but just exploring what that is, where it doesn't have to have a destination, and opening to deeper levels of intimacy and sharing all of the wounds and other stuff. And we came through all these levels, and we found that there was still stuff unsaid that could be felt, but and it made me feel uncomfortable. Those letters are important. I'm not sure which I was talking about with the letters, but anyways, oh yes, about the inner children, and that was huge. Thank you, Dee Dee. But going to this deeper depth, and I thought we'd gone to this really deep depth, and we made all these contracts about what we wanted and how we wanted to be held and where things led, and speaking about them in advance, and creating all these agreements and saying, okay, this isn't leading to marriage. This isn't leading. She's going through a divorce, and I've been through a divorce, and there's just a whole bunch of healing time. And it was more about seeing the intimacy of who we were with a person that we really trusted. Maybe, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, there was attraction and sexual pulls and other things that we added into the agreement, but it was never with a destination. It was more about exploring ourselves and exploring intimacy and depth and vulnerability without all those other pulls that can really twist things. And it made really clear kind of what we needed and what we wanted, and we learned to be able to ask for it and all this kind of stuff. We got to a point where I felt some stuff being held back, and there were some questions that never answered, and some parts of their life that was never discussed. And I asked a whole bunch of questions about it. And it was really hard, because it was like, maybe she will think I don't trust her and all this kind of stuff. But it was for my inner child that said, I got to ask these, because they're not being said. Is there something I don't know here? Is she lying to me, or whatever? And a huge, beautiful level of vulnerability came up. And then these bubbles of stuff popped up that had never been shared, and they thought that it would make them feel broken, and this kind of stuff. And then levels in me popped up, and it was just like, holy fuck. It's like, okay, your relationships or your connections with other people are being twisted by past experiences, past trauma, past beliefs that we're bad, or that somebody's going to see us as a failure or broken or whatever. And by sharing what felt off in me in a nice, accountable way, it wasn't like, hey, fuck you, why did you not tell me about this or whatever. It's just like, you never discussed this. You never discussed your divorce. You never discussed these other intimate things about your life. Have you ever had any traumas? Have you ever had anything? And I could always feel something held back a little bit. And maybe she feels that some of my stuff is held back a little bit. But by giving permission or starting to ask questions around that area, and then being really receptive about it and saying, I'd really like to know these things and I want to stay in balance. And a really beautiful space of even deeper vulnerability came. And I thought we were vulnerable and intimate. And I'm not talking intimate in sexuality. I'm talking about intimate in sharing stuff that might feel gritty about myself, or talking about the shitty ways I talk to myself, or what I believed about myself, or these kind of things. But it led to even a deeper level of vulnerability. It led to this expansion of hearts to talk. And I don't know where that leads, because we just finished talking, but it feels good. Before, I used to like fret about this stuff for days on end. It's like, okay, what did this mean when she didn't say that? And what does this mean? And why isn't she doing this? Or why isn't she being complete with me or whatever? And it was all my own shit. It was all my own story. And we even talked about their stuff and all the stories and stuff that we were struggling with. And then we went to that deeper level, and it's like, okay, I want to be deeper. Okay, but that means I got to be deeper now too. So what in me is protecting me? And I'm sitting and looking at all these times I've been let down on women, by women, let down or wounded, and when I was too vulnerable, and then they pulled away or whatever, and all those things are showing up. And now it's like, fuck, now I got to get even deeper, because I wanted that truth from her, and now I got to show up in the exact same truth. I've been providing more truths for a long time, but now there's new levels of even deeper truth. What scares the fuck out of me? What scares me in maybe I'm going to miss something, or I've done something wrong, or whatever. And it's disgusting, but it feels good. It feels like I'm being integral to myself. It feels like I'm not hiding those shadowy parts anymore. And it's not afraid that I'm going to step on a landmine or something by not telling a truth and exposing something and then being called on it. It's all gone by just being vulnerable, by sharing stuff that I thought was icky inside, or my mistrust or whatever. But without trust, you're kind of stuck. But I'm going to invert it. The trust is in yourself first. It wasn't me mistrusting her. It was me mistrusting what I read and building a story around it, so that it validated that I didn't have to trust again. So it was almost inverted, but I had to ask questions that tested trust. And by me having the courage to ask those questions, helped me trust myself and my inner child and stuff. And that may seem distorted, but really, what are most of our trust issues in our relationship? It's the story that we've said in our head about, is this going to be the same as last time? Is this going to show up? This person going to hurt me? Is this person going to run away? Is this person going to whatever? It was all a story. And really, I think most of what we're dealing with is in trusting ourselves. If we say the story, it's like, oh, he's going to wound me again, or she's going to say this thing, or this is going to happen all over again, or whatever. You're not trusting in the universe. You're not trusting in possibility. But the minute you start saying, okay, I'm going to get this out in the open, out front, so that my brain, my ego, all that shit that's going on in my head is out the door. And that trust is built right from the beginning, because I asked. Not, I had to hint on it, question it, read between the lines, whatever, which just destroys you. So that was big. I'm still processing it. It's going to push me to be even more open in my heart. It's going to push me to be more intimate in what I share and in impeccability with how I act, react, how I step forward, how I conduct myself. Because how can I hold somebody to a higher standard than I'm holding for myself? And I don't think I'm doing it. I'm actually asking her to step up to a higher standard. I have a ton of transparency in what I've got, but there's still those underlying deep little wounds that I'm now going to have to look at, that maybe someday I'll ask her to look at those underlying little wounds too, but it starts here. It starts with me. And I'm happy to pull myself deeper. I'm happy to welcome a woman to go deeper. And it shows my integrity to her. It opens her and shows my safety and my vulnerability. I'm not a ticking time bomb. I'm sharing all the shit before it shows up, which makes me feel safer. And it's crazy. So our vulnerability is the gate to awakening. Our vulnerability is being okay with exactly who we are. It's the deepest level of self-love, to be able to tell somebody the thing that's icky and makes you feel ugly inside or whatever, and then to share that with another person and hear them to just receive you and say, okay, I am too, thank you, and not use it against you or not whatever. So you're going to find out there's tons of things that are hidden in your shadow that with vulnerability you're going to be compelled to ask, and it's going to be scary and it's going to be icky, but fuck, when you get through it and you can find people that can meet you at that same level, that's God, that's powerful. That's I honestly think, and this is advanced level shit, but to lead with your vulnerability, lead with your worst part of yourself up front and hold them in a space where you can ask them the same thing. And if they meet you at that level, it's magic. If they don't meet you at that level, that's their choice, but it's going to show you how deep they're willing to go, how scary they're willing to explore. And it's going to show you how much you can trust that person and how much you can trust yourself with the depth that you're willing to go. So really deep stuff. I hope it makes sense to you, but if it doesn't, please put a note down or direct message me. My heart's just like buzzing inside and a little woozy at the moment, but it's good and it's big, and I'm so happy. I'm proud of myself for going to that level. So have a good one. I hope these words sink in and give you a gift of deeper depth and trust in yourself as well. So have a good night. I love you lots. And we will talk again. Have fun. Be vulnerable.